The Rhode Island Comic Con!
My name is David Ciccariella, and welcome to the 2019 Rhode Island Comic Con. Well, we're going to talk to special guests, people dressed in costume, and see a lot of exciting things. Let's go. I'm now speaking with John Glover. How does it feel to be at the Rhode Island Comic Con?
Oh, David. Oh, David. David was the first person I met here, David and Brian, who was the cameraman. I'd just gotten off a train late. I didn't think I was going to make it. There was utter confusion. But you quieted me. Do you understand that, David? May I call you David?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good.
Now, you're part of so many iconic superhero shows. Did you get cheeky from working with Michael Rosenbaum?
In the beginning, when I was first working with him, he'd do all these ass things. And I'd think, God damn it, and then when I realized, he was just keeping it alive. So then I started to understand what he was doing, the little son of a But he's beautiful, and I love Michael, and I grew to love him.
And he said he learned from you how to touch other actors.
Yeah, I like to touch. See? There. See, touching is good.
That worked. Thank you. What was one of your favorite episodes of Smallville?
Oh, there were so many. I really did love giving Michael shock treatments. That pops to my mind first. And then I loved wooing Martha, because Annette and I had a grand time together. And I loved John Schneider, Schneidi we used to call him, Schneidi teaching me how to do the fights. I was so intimidated by the fights, because I'm not a physical kind of guy. But Schneidi, Dukes of Hazzard, I mean, those guys were rolling all over the place. And I had a couple of fights with him, and I dreaded it. But he was so generous with kind of teaching me how to take a hit and how to give him a hit and stuff. We had the best time.
And you also caused Jonathan's fatal heart attack.
So I could woo his wife. I'm no dummy.
And you also transferred bodies with Clark. That must have been interesting to play.
Interesting, but very difficult. I thought he did me really well, but I had such trouble because, see, I'm a character actor, so I do a lot of behavior and stuff. But Tom, who's a leading man, because of the way he looks, can just stand there and you wonder what he's thinking. And it was so hard for me to just be. I actually learned a lot, maybe how to simplify from Tom.
You voiced the Riddler in Batman the Animated Series.
I did.
I talked to Kevin last year at Rhode Island Comic Con. He said you guys worked together prior to Batman the Animated Series.
At the Shakespeare Festival down in San Diego, we did a mini-series called The Kennedys together. We did Lear. We were brothers in Lear. When I went in to do this first episode of The Riddler, somebody dropped out, so they just offered me the job. And there was Kevin with his voice, and I didn't know he could do that. Well, a lot of people think I'm the Riddler, but I only did 3 episodes, and it was like right around the corner from where I lived. So I would walk over and have 2 hours of bliss playing with these great actors, because we all did it together, and then go home contented. But Saturday morning when it was on, I was a grown-up. I wasn't going to watch that.
You were Dr. Savannah's father in Shazam. How was that experience?
So interesting. I only saw the scenes I was in. I'm not a DC person. I've just been offered all these DC roles. I have no... I don't know why. It's like the power of the universe comes to me for DC. I don't know. I had a good time. I like to work.
I'm now here with Anthony Michael Hall, and how are you enjoying being at the Rhode Island Comic Con?
Oh, I'm having a great time. You know, I was originally born in Boston, and I have family here, so it's great to come back here. And the fans have been fantastic. The show is better than ever. It's really a really well-run show, so we're having a great time.
This is a special con for you because all your vacation co-stars are here. How does that feel to be reunited with them?
It was awesome. Chevy was here yesterday, Beverly's still here, and Dana Barron, who played my sister, and it was really nice. And fans really loved it. We took a lot of great shots, and we've had a lot of great interaction with the fans, and that's what it's about, them having a good time. You know, and it's also a family business, so people bring their families, and it's just really wonderful. We've had a good time.
You've been part of so many iconic things, and I just want to bring up one of them, The Dark Knight.
Yeah.
How was that experience in that movie and working with Heath Ledger?
Yeah, great question. Well, it was amazing because Christopher Nolan obviously is a brilliant filmmaker, and I was really honored to get the part. I actually auditioned for another role, and then Chris and his wife Emma were kind enough to bring me back in for the role I played as the reporter. And working with Heath was fantastic. You know, he was a brilliant actor. I was very sad at his loss, like millions of people. And his performance was amazing. So it was a real honor, one of the highlights of my career to be in that film. And I never made a movie that made over $1 billion, so that was fun too. But you know what, it was a great experience. We shot in London and we shot in Chicago. And then at the end, I didn't go, but they went to Hong Kong. So incredible film to be a part of. Yeah.
In The Dead Zone, you work with David Steers. How is it working with him?
David Ogden Stiers was a wonderful man. He really was. I miss him. He passed about a year ago, I think, and he was just a wonderful guy. You know, he was also a conductor in his part-time, and one day he came to set on Dead Zone and had given me a whole bag full of CDs. That's when CDs were still hot, you know, just to educate me on classical music because he knew I loved it. And I'll give you a quick story about David. He would be so funny. We would be on set shooting Dead Zone, and we would wrap, and the first assistant director would go, "Okay, David, you're done." And he'd go, "Probably in the business, thank you very much." And he would make a joke about being done for the day, but being done in the business. But he was a wonderful person. He really was. A very loving, kind man. Very supportive of me, too, when I did that show. He was a great guy.
What upcoming projects do you have?
I just wrapped Halloween Kills with Jamie Lee Curtis. I'm really excited about it. And it was directed by the brilliant David Gordon Green. And it was written by David and Danny McBride. And it was just a thrill to be a part of. We shot in Wilmington, North Carolina, and it was about a 6-week shoot, and it went great. I think fans are going to really love it because the last one was awesome, you know, and I think this one's going to be even better.
I'm now with David Mazouz, and how are you enjoying Rhode Island Comic Con?
I'm loving it. Having a great time.
Now you are Bruce Wayne Batman in Gotham, and you're sitting next to John Pertwee,
Yeah.
Alfred.
One of my best friends, Sean. Yeah.
And
He's a great guy.
what did he teach you about acting?
Oh God, he taught me everything about acting. I mean, seriously, like one thing my mom always says, which I think is very true, is acting is it's like tennis. If you play against people who are better than you, I mean, honestly, it's like everything. If you play against people who are better than you, you get better. If you play against people who are worse than you get worse. And I got way better on Gotham because I was working so intimately with the guy behind me. His training was so extensive, and it just comes through in his work. He taught me by example a lot.
And what other DC character would you like to play if you weren't Bruce Wayne Batman?
I'd love to play Damian Wayne.
Now, when you are at different Comic-Cons with other actors or even voice actors who play Batman, do you feel a special bond with those other actors?
You know what? Not as much as you would think. It feels very fragmented, I guess. I don't know. I always kind of hope there was like some secret Batman club that you get at like a group chat at least. You get like initiated into once you become one. But I mean, if there is, I haven't been initiated. I'm still waiting. Call me. So yeah, I don't know. Not really.
And if they asked another 10, 15 years for you to come back to play Batman, are you up for it?
Absolutely.
I'm now with Sean Pertwee, and how are you enjoying being at the Rhode Island Comic Con?
I'm loving it. Everyone's been absolutely lovely, and I've had a chance to talk to virtually everyone here, I think, really. So it's been great. Second time I've been. People actually ask me what Providence is like. I don't actually know. I just say brown because I've only ever been inside this room, really. So, but unfortunately, I won't get a chance to see it. But it's been a great couple of days, yeah.
We just spoke to David, and he said he loved working with you, and he learned so much about acting from you. What did you learn from working with him?
Well, I mean, humility. I mean, he's right there, so you can hear what I'm saying. He's an extraordinarily talented, wonderful young man now, and I had the pleasure of watching him grow up in front of my very eyes. You know, my son is virtually the same age as David, so it was an easy pool for me to draw from, as if talking to my son. So because I missed my son terribly, and David was there, and I spent, a quarter of his life with him, watching him grow, and teaching him how to fight.
You did such an amazing job as Alfred, kept the legacy of Alfred alive. Did you look at the other sources of Alfred, or did you just try to keep away from it to make it your own?
No, I kept away originally because the thing is, I like the ease in which Michael Gough and Keaton, how easy they were around each other. I really like that relationship, and I really like the relationship with Sir Michael, of course, obviously, because he's brilliant. So, big shoes to fill. But, of course, we were seeing him at a time when you'd never seen him before, and also from a physical aspect. So it was, I tried to stay away from it, but I brought other jobs and experiences that I had, like I trained with the SAS for another show, so I used some of that. I can throw knives and I can box, so we started encompassing all of these elements into it. So, and the fans really dug it. Gave Alfred a real reason to be there. Basically Alfred is Batman.
Now I wanted to bring up your dad, the third Doctor in Doctor Who. What's the legacy of your dad? Do you feel all these years later still being beloved for that character? And would you ever want to play the third Doctor if they asked you to?
I'd never do that. Too bigger Cuban heel boots to fill. He was he's my dad and he's my doctor, so it'd be too creepy and weird. But I would be interested in doing something as an ode to my father doing the show, because of course it would really be polarized, the fact that I would be going to do something, so it'd have to be something that is sort of special, if I'm allowed to say that, because it's a big thing. There's a legions of Doctor Who fans out there, and it would have to be right.
And what current projects do you have coming up?
I've been very lucky and very busy since I've left Gotham, actually. I just did a film with Neil Marshall, who I did a couple of movies with before, Dog Soldiers and Doomsday and stuff like that. So I went on to do a film called The Reckoning, which is like Jacob's Ladder set in the 1600s, where I'm a witch finder general, and I burn witches. And then I did The Pale Horse, which is the Agatha Christie's, one of her last novels she wrote in the 1960s. That's on Christmas Day, I think, in America, on Amazon. And then I just finished Prodigal Son with Michael Sheen and Tom Paine. I was in Manhattan, and they rang me up and said, you start tomorrow morning if you wanted to. So I played the character in the mid-season finale of that.
I'm now with Batman, and what brings you to Rhode Island Comic Con?
There's a couple of criminals loose. I had to run them out, take them back to Gotham.
So you captured a few villains?
Just a few.
Well, so we're outside the City of Gotham Police Department, aren't we?
It's a subdivision located in Rhode Island, Massachusetts.
They should always have one in every city they go.
Every city has one, right?
So let's take a walk, right?
Sure, but don't get too close. They're still criminals.
And they bite, right?
They bite and they're scum.
And they're scum. Let's go. Let's see what we have here. Oh my goodness. Wow.
We got Harvey and Harley.
How long have you been in jail for?
Too long.
How about you?
Just a couple of hours, but Puddin's gonna get me out soon.
Oh, that's a relief.
I don't think so.
So you don't think the Joker will get them out?
No. I'll take that clown and I'll turn him into pudding.
My Puddin will come
Pipe
back.
down!
Well, this is breaking news, everyone. Batman just got one of his rogues gallery. Who'd you get in there?
Open up the cage!
Mr. Freeze. They caught Mr. Freeze. It's amazing. Can you believe that?
Chill out, Freeze. Chill.
Wow, this is outstanding. Now I'm with Catherine Tate, and how are you enjoying being at the Rhode Island Comic Con?
I've literally just got here, but it's feeling like it's going to be a good one.
You are absolutely fantastic as Donna Noble in Doctor Who. I'm a big fan. Season 4, Series 4 is my favorite series of Doctor Who. How is it working alongside David Tennant?
It's awful. He's really a monster of a man.
Oh, I've heard.
Right.
He's
lovely. He's lovely. It's great. It's great fun.
What was your favorite episode to shoot in Series 4?
The Runaway Bride. Yes. That wasn't exactly Series 4. It was a Christmas special before, I know. But I like that one.
You also worked with Elizabeth Sladen, who played Sarah Jane. How was it working with her?
She was a wonderful, wonderful person. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Yeah.
Now, you also joined The Office in Season 8. How was that joining that ensemble show?
It was brilliant. I was a huge fan and I was delighted to go and be part of that big family. It was great. In fact, I just saw Brian here and we were catching up. He plays Kevin.
Now, for people who want to visit the UK, I'm a huge fan of London and England and the UK. Where should people go and visit?
My house. We have a great time.
And what are you currently working on?
I just finished literally a film last week of one of my characters from my sketch show. It's a film called This Nan's Life, and it's based on my Nan character.
Ooh. I'm now with Leslie David Baker, and how are you enjoying Rhode Island Comic Con?
I am enjoying it very much. Everyone's very friendly and gracious, and we're having a good time.
And it must be great that so many fans come out and love your character of Stanley in The Office.
Absolutely. We were on set for, 9 years and didn't get to really engage people because it was a closed set. And going to the Comic Cons gives us an opportunity to meet people and see them face to face.
Do you have a favorite episode of The Office?
My favorite episode would probably be when I am blown with a harpoon, a little dart, and slid down the stairs and rolled across the ground and made to go to a meeting.
Did you enjoy playing the straight man to everybody, especially to Steve Carell?
Very much fun. Steve Carell gives you plenty to work with. It was a very fun time. Love working with him.
Did you like how the show ended and where your character ended up?
I liked it, but there's always something more that Stanley could be doing in addition to carving ducks in Florida. We know that was not going to last too long, so he's probably out there doing other stuff now.
So who was one of your favorite cast members to work with or have that interplay with?
My Phyllis Marie Smith was always a joy to work with. We sat across from each other for 9 years, and we shopped and bought houses and clothes and laughed and giggled and passed notes back and forth on our computers and just had a good time.
Now, Jenna and Angela have a new podcast called The Office Ladies, where they talk about the show. Yeah. Are you going to appear on it?
Eventually I will. I was just recently at Dancing with the Stars and got a chance to see Kate Flannery doing her thing, so I'll be bipping and bopping around, so I'm sure I'll probably pop through there too.
And what current projects do you have coming up?
I am working on animated things. In my second season of Puppy Dog Pals, I'm doing another animated show that I can't talk about because of a non-disclosure agreement, and 2 more other projects that I can't talk about because of a non-disclosure agreement. And I'll keep you posted, though.
I'm now with Brian Baumgartner, and how are you enjoying Rhode Island Comic Con?
Oh, it's been fantastic, yeah. I mean, I'm from California. It's a little cold, but the people are so warm and inviting. It's been awesome.
And you're Kevin from The Office.
Yes, that is true.
Watching the episodes and seeing Kevin kind of change over time, how did you decide to change your voice into Kevin's voice?
It really just evolved based on how the writers started to write. As we got picked up and we started doing more episodes, the writing for the character morphed and changed a little bit, and myself finding the voice and the writers sort of finding, who really he was sort of came together that way.
I've been listening to Jenna and Angela's Office Lady podcast, and they were talking about the first couple episodes, and they were talking about, Angela especially was talking about you, Oscar, and Angela working together as the accountants, not having a real computer at the very beginning, and the bond you guys created during the pilot and the second episode.
Yeah, absolutely. No, we had a blast. We were stuck back there in the corner together, so we found a lot of ways to amuse ourselves.
And you had something on your desk for the entire show that Angela made.
Yeah, little post-it notes. We would pass post-it notes back and forth together to try to make each other laugh, and one I stuck up on the window and it stayed there for 10 years.
How did it feel, because I know the cast went to Scranton for this big parade, how did that feel to go to Scranton and get that reception?
I went there a number of times throughout the show and always had a blast. The people there were, we were respectful of the city because we loved the city and we felt like it was where we were from, and to have so many fans come to town and celebrate with us, it was awesome.
There's a great blooper of you going on Steve Carell's lap while he's dressed like Santa Claus. Just talk about filming that scene and just trying to get through it.
It was probably for all of us the hardest scene to get through and to not laugh. Steve was just so funny, and it was great.
I'm now here with Spider-Man and two of his villains, Vulture and Mysterio. How are you enjoying Rhode Island Comic Con? We'll start with Spidey.
I'm having a lot of fun. I met Riddler over there, and I'm about to meet Bruce Wayne.
Wow, he met John Glover, and he's going to meet another celebrity. Vulture, how about you?
I'm having a very good time. It's a very cool place, and I met the same. Yeah, it's really cool.
I can't really hear what he's saying, but I'm sure it's a blast.
Yep.
Mysterio, how about you?
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, it's fun. I think he said it's fun. But these guys look fantastic. Now, all these costumes are made. They made these costumes themselves. Is that right?
Yeah, I had help from my friend Ryan, so shout out to Ryan.
Shout out to Ryan. And I'm gonna mainly talk to you because I can't hear the other two guys.
Okay, yeah.
What inspired you guys to dress like Spider-Man and his villains?
Well, it was just over the summer, and my twin brother Willem wanted to dress up as Vulture, and I'm like, well, I could be Spider-Man, and he would be Mysterio, and it'd be really cool.
I'm now with Daphne Zuniga, and how are you enjoying Rhode Island Comic Con?
I just got here. So far, it's great. It's been lovely. We did some photos, some selfies, and I just love meeting the fans.
Spaceballs is such a legendary, amazing film. How was it being directed by Mel Brooks?
It was amazing. I know I had a birthday on the set out in the desert. I wore a princess outfit. I had a great time. Mel's wonderful, perfectionist, and it was, the whole entire shoot, he was thinking of the kids. So it brought out the kids in all of us. John Candy, amazing. The comic genius in the movie was an honor to be a part of.
And you came back for the cartoon. Was it fun to reprise your role?
Oh, yeah. We did that for, I forget how many days we went in there, but Joan Rivers was there. And then we had some amazing voiceover artists that sounded like John Candy and Rick Moranis. And then, of course, Mel was there. So that was great.
And what are you currently working on?
I'm directing now. I directed my first movie for a television movie on Lifetime. And I just appeared in a Lifetime movie, and I'm set to direct my second movie.
I'm now with Griffin Newman. How are you enjoying Rhode Island Comic Con?
I'm enjoying greatly. I mean, I've only been here a couple hours. I just got in late last night, but it seems like a lot of fun and a nice, relaxing convention. It's not one of those that is so jam-packed that you're stressed out moving any square inch.
You're Arthur from The Tick.
I am, yeah, which is pretty nuts, yes.
And how was that experience?
Great. I've been a fan of The Tick for most of my life. I grew up watching the Warburton show, who's also here this weekend, and I never even considered that they would bring the show back and that I could possibly play this character that I loved so much. So it continues to be surreal that I ever got the job.
What did you take the most inspiration from? From the comic book, from the cartoon, or from the last live-action show?
It was a combination of all of it, but also Bed Edlund, who created the Tick comic book, has been involved in every version of it. And so he was the guy who wrote this new version. And in this version, Arthur was much more of a main character. And he added all this backstory to Arthur that hadn't existed before. So there was so much new material that I got to play with that the other actors who have played Arthur haven't. So I was obsessively watching the cartoon and the Warburton show and rereading all the comics and doing all of that in prep for the show. Then you start to get stressed out and go like, I don't want to be doing an impression. I don't want to be doing something too different from what those guys have done because you don't want to get away from what worked in the past. But when the scenes are so new and so different, it gave me a great opportunity to sort of put my own stamp on it. So I tried to combine a little bit of everything and go off of the script and the new stuff that was being added and tried to make a cocktail of all that. Hopefully something that felt like classic Arthur.
And what guest star were you most surprised to be working with on the tech?
John Hodgman, who played Hobbs, who is sort of one of our main conflicts in season 2. I've been a long-time fan of his. He was so much fun to play with. He was a very surprising guy to work with. And he wasn't a guest star, but Jackie Earle Haley, who played the Terror in season 1, was a regular on season 1, was like, that's an actor you never think you're going to get to actually be in a scene with. It was pretty intimidating. Yeah, but everyone on the show was so good. Yeah.
And what are you currently working on?
I'm on a cartoon show called Our Cartoon President, where I play Jared Kushner, about the Trump family. That is on Showtime. It's coming back for season 3.
Ladies and gentlemen, I present Dr. Octopus. How are you enjoying Rhode Island Comic Con?
I think it's good.
You think it's good? Wow, this is amazing. What inspired you to dress like Doc Ock today?
I like the arms.
Hey, you like the arms? Hey, I like the arms too. What are they made out of?
I'm not fully sure, but my dad made them.
I'm now with Brian O'Halloran, and how does it feel to be back at the Rhode Island Comic Con?
David, it's always a great time to come back here. You know, this is like this organization's like family by this point. They know we know each other. We know what we like to have and like to do, and these guys every year get better and better. You know, now that we've been the second year of the celebrity room being separated from the show floor, at first I thought, oh my God, that's going to be terrible. It actually works out so much better.
Well, this is exciting time for you. Jay and Silent Bob Reboot is now out.
You know, it's been great hearing the response on social media, especially from the fans and how much they're loving it. I mean, Reboot is really a great love letter from Kevin Smith to the fans of who really have stuck through with us for all these years, going on 25 years now, this year itself, since the original Clerks, and bringing tons of great characters back, and these actors actually giving their time to come back and do it. It's been a lot of fun. I think the biggest complaint is there's too many jokes. People are laughing over the other jokes, and we can't pay attention because the laughter is drowning out the dialogue. So,
was it strange to see the Quick Stop, because they made a Quick Stop set in Louisiana?
Oh my God, it was so freaky. So that was like day 2 or 3 of the shoot that I came down to New Orleans to shoot with Kevin. And me and him just spent a good 20 minutes while camera department was getting ready and other things were getting ready outside this, what was an automotive shop that had the same outside kind of dimensions of what would be the Quick Stop. The great set design people down there built an actually facade of the Quick Stop and the RST video, which is a different name now in the new one. I'm not going to spoil it for you. But it was really great to see this this is exactly right. But the weirdest thing about it is there was a tree growing on the side of the building, almost exactly where the tree on the side of the Quick Stop was. I'm like, look, they built the set, that's one thing, but the tree was all natural. Look, it looks exactly like the tree in Leonardo at the Quick Stop. So it was just weird, like a real weird trip going back in time with it.
Was it a little bit odd to play Dante without Randall by your side?
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. It was kind of weird not having someone needling Dante about this whole thing. But you'll see the reasons why when you see the new Jay and Silent Bob reboot and why Randall's not in the film at the moment. We would love to have him on board, and hopefully we're going to have him on board for Clerks 3 that Kevin's been banting about, so we'll see.
Speaking of Clerks 3, Kevin announced the plot.
Yeah. M. Night Shyamalan, he is not in keeping his plot secret. So apparently he's told about the plot. I don't want to repeat the plot because I don't know if it's going to stay that way. But it's something that I thought was very cute and very funny, and I think the fans will enjoy it. I know that when we were at Los Angeles Comic Con, Marilyn Gigliotti, who lives out there, was at the con with me, and Kevin was there, and we did a photo shoot in front of that fake Quick Stop set. They brought it up to Comic-Con to set it up to have photos taken in front of while they promoted the new reboot, and he announced that Marilyn Gigliotti is going to be part of Clerks 3, so that's fun for her.
Kevin wrote an original Clerks 3 script that was never made, but you guys recently had a reading of it in New Jersey. Could you talk about just how that felt, even just reading that and presenting that script?
Well, the original Clerks 3 script was a much darker Clerks 3 script. There was a lot more serious life events going on for the characters. When the option to do that film kind of ended, but instead of letting it go to waste, Kevin's like, why don't we do a fundraiser by doing a staged reading? So it was myself, Kevin, who read the role of Jay, plus Randall, My girlfriend Dinah Devlin was there. Kim Loughran, who was from the original cast, read one night. Brian Johnson read a few roles for us. Ernie O'Donnell read a couple more roles. And Marilyn Gigliotti, they flew her in to be a part of it as well. There was the theater that we had held our auditions at for the original Clerks, the First Avenue Playhouse in Atlantic Highlands, New Jersey. And they had a GoFundMe going on to raise money. They needed about $50,000 to upgrade all their lighting and sound equipment to like LED lighting and stuff, much more efficient kind of devices. And it's a beloved theater that's owned by the people. It was nice to see us on stage reading this very dark and challenging script for that matter, but people enjoyed it, and we raised over $20,000 for the theater. Now they still need it, so if you get a chance to go to the GoFundMe, it's the First Avenue Playhouse in Atlantic Highlands. They still have a GoFundMe. They need still about another $25,000. So we're hoping maybe to do at some point a reading of the script again, maybe in other cities. Kevin has been talking about, do a reading of it in Chicago or do a reading of it in LA to raise the final money that they needed. So we'll see.
Now I'm with Keith Coogan. How does it feel to be at Rhode Island Comic Con?
Very grateful. Thank you to Gremlina for hooking us up and bringing us here. This is our first year at Rhode Island. We love it. This is just a Friday, and it's incredibly busy. Met a lot of great people.
Now, you're very well known for being in Adventures in Babysitting. How was that experience?
It was an actual adventure to film the movie. Running around the streets of Chicago.
And you worked alongside Vincent D'Onofrio.
I know. I was very scared of Vincent D'Onofrio. He had already done Full Metal Jacket, but it hadn't come out yet when we were filming Adventures in Babysitting. And he was very serious and always kind of in character. And, they make stories up that he's like this method actor, and well, no, everybody on set was does their job, and they're in character most of the time. So I didn't notice anything different, but he's also, when he picks you up by the scruff of the neck and, threatens you, there's no acting involved. He's very scary.
Most recently, you're in Jay and Silent Bob Reboot.
Yes, I proudly am, and of course thanks to Kevin Smith.
And how did you get in touch with Kevin to be doing the film?
Gave him a dish, kind of like this one, with a quote from Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead. Dishes are done, man. And I asked him, I go, hey, I hear you're doing the reboot, and I'd love to be in it. And he said, you're in. And I'm kind of jaded. I've been in the business for a while. 43 years I've had my SAG card. So I was like, I'll believe it when I see my name on a call sheet and they give me a mark and I stand in front of a camera kind of a thing in my mind. And man, did this cat come through for me. So he is. I'm in it. And so thanks to Kevin Smith. And he does great job with the whole movie. We're grateful that Kevin's with us, that he survived basically a widowmaker heart attack.
And Brian O'Halloran, who plays Dante's here.
One of the smartest, funniest, quickest wits I've ever seen in the industry. He's all over Reboot.
And what else are you working on?
I've got Aunt Sissy, which co-stars Kathy Garver. And I've got, I just did a run of Diary of Anne Frank. I also do theater.
I'm with the cast of Family Matters. Hey! And how are you guys enjoying Rhode Island Comic Con?
Oh man, this is wonderful, man. It's just beautiful. We're just beautiful people. We are enjoying ourselves.
Yeah, we're having a ball. The fans are great.
You're a Transformer, aren't you?
I am a Transformer. I was the Transformer that got it. Megatron ripped me in half.
Mr. Steve Urkel is here as well.
Where? He owed me money.
When are we going to see a reunion?
To get it going. Yeah. We want to see a reunion also. We have so much fun together.
We need the fans to be a little more vocal about their support and desire to get it going. There's some interest there, but we kind of don't know. So we have a challenge. It's challenging to answer that question when people pose it.
I'm now with Patrick Renna, and how does it feel to be at Rhode Island Comic Con?
Oh, I'm loving it. It's great to be on this coast again. I'm from Boston, but if you can believe it, I've never made it down to Rhode Island. I can't believe it.
That is surprising.
I know. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, all of Rhode Island.
Well, a lot of people know you from The Sandlot. You recently had a reunion. How did that feel to be reunited with your cast?
It was great. Some of them I hadn't seen for about 25 years, so it was really like Smalls, Tom Gyree, I hadn't seen since we filmed the movie, so that was really special. Some of the guys I've been in touch with, so, I've seen them over the years, like Chauncey, who played Squints. We've done 4 movies together or something, and stayed in touch over the years. So.
And how does that feel that movie has such a beloved feeling towards it when people watch it?
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, I always say that's why we act, and that's why we do what we do, to have the opportunity to possibly make something that means that much to people. So when you meet a grandfather and his son, and the grandson or the granddaughter, and they've all seen it, it's It's pretty chilling in a wonderful way, you know?
And recently I saw you in Glow for season 2. How was that experience?
Well, I did a photo op earlier today, and I had a Britannica do the photo, which was great. That was a first for me. So, I knew one of the girls, Jackie Tone. She plays Melrose. So I've known her. I grew up with her a bit. So she really kind of took me under her wing and made me feel at home. And all the ladies were so welcoming, and it was one of the best TV experiences I've ever had. So
You must have been sad that your character never married Britannica.
I'm very sad, but I know they're coming back for a 4th season. So you heard it here first. I'm putting my plug in, me and Britannica.
Now I'm standing with
John Marks. Today, Tony Stark.
Today's Tony Stark. And what did you bring to Rhode Island Comic Con?
I built these two fellas right here, Toothless and Light Fury. The dragons based on the movie How to Train Your Dragon. People have been able to come over and ride them, of course. I built these guys. It took about 2 months for her and about 5 months for him.
Wow, and what are they made out of?
Primarily foam, styrofoam and expandable foams, some latex, PVC.
And which dragon is more popular?
Definitely Toothless. Everybody loves Toothless. Can't help it. He's got the big smile.
So they're big successes at Comic Con.
Well, it's been doing really well this time. So yeah, sometimes you never know. Hit and miss.
I'm now with Tom Berenger, and how are you feeling being at the Rhode Island Comic Con?
Well, it's great, and this is my first time, but I'm shocked at how big it is. I mean, it's just, I mean, there's thousands of square miles inside this building, and it just goes on and on and on.
You worked with Sidney Poitier in
Yes.
Shoot to Kill. How was that experience?
Oh, that was great, because he's a gentleman of the old school, and it was like, he was 60 at the time, I think, but he was in great shape, and he didn't have a problem, and we did a lot of running up and down mountains, uphill, downhill. So we stayed in shape doing that as well. Yeah.
And you're part of so many iconic movies, such as Platoon. How is it working with Willem Dafoe?
Well, we're pretty good friends. We stay in touch mostly by email because he lives in Italy, married an Italian girl. I remember I met her at the 30-year anniversary of Platoon, and Oliver was getting an award from Cannes, the film festival, the Cannes Film Festival. They flew Charlie, Willem, and I over there, and that was great. And I met Willem's fiance, now wife. We had a nice quiet dinner alone, and I remember him speaking kind of Midwestern sounding, a little bit feeling his way through Italian. He's fluent now.
You have so many fans that want to talk to you about Major League. Why do you think fans love that movie and it still holds up?
Well, it's funny. It's very, very funny. David Ward is a very funny writer. Well, this actually I've seen happen in real life. The Seattle Seahawks, that great team they had, right? And a heartbreaking loss there in the end at Super Bowl. And it was kind of similar in a way. Yeah, I love those guys. They were all 11th picks, It's the only time I ever seen professional athletes cry, and I was very touched by it. I said, these guys are great. And I already loved them, but now I really loved them. The guy said, look at them, just sobbing. And I said, you never see that in the pros.
I'm now with Corbin Bernsen. And how are you enjoying Rhode Island Comic Con?
Loving it, man. Just loving it. Rhode Island rocks.
Coming next year, Psych 2, Lassie Come Home is coming out. How does it feel to be doing another Psych movie?
We love it. It's great because it features Tim Amundsen, who we all love, who had some difficulties. And I think people are going to be very, not only surprised, but very happy.
I talked to you before the first film. Was those scenes fun to film when you were fighting Charlotte the wrestler?
Yeah, that was great. That was fun. Those were kind of goofy, and they were fun to do. They were fun, and she's tough.
One of your favorite episodes, I believe, of Psych is the episode where you're trying to win a truck.
Right, yeah, where I got to keep my hand on a truck. Whoever pulls their hand up first, loses.
You were recently also in The Punisher. How was it to be part of that Marvel world?
Oh, great. It's probably it's the only time I've ever been a part of that world. And I got a little small taste of it, but it was brief, but it was great.
Did you like it because it was much more of a realistic take on superheroes on opposed to what your wife does with The Flash?
No, I just loved because working with John was great. It's kind of dark. I wouldn't say it's any more real or less real but it has this little darker thing to it, It's The Punisher.
And what current projects do you have coming up?
I'm working right now on a show called The Resident. I just have been filming some episodes of a new mid-season show called Tommy with Edie Falco.
And you shot a movie with your wife?
Yes, I shot a movie called Mary for Mayor that I wrote and co-directed, and that'll be coming out in 2020.
Oh, excellent. Corbin, thank you so much for talking to me and being here at the Rhode Island Comic Con.
Awesome.
I'm now with Amanda Pays, and how are you enjoying being at the Rhode Island Comic Con?
I'm having a blast. Haven't been here long yet, but I hear it's going to be a fun weekend, but so far so good. Yeah.
You were on the 1990s Flash. What would you like to do with your character if you would come back again on the Flash?
I think I'd like to marry Jay.
Jay's now with another woman.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Well, you know what you could do? You could bring Corbin on the show.
Yes, there you go.
Yeah.
They could battle it out.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and you were also in Max Headroom.
I was. Oh my God, we're going back some years now. Max Headroom. I came to America because of Max Headroom. ABC wanted to make the series, but we shot the original in England. So Max Headroom. A lot of people have been buying Max Headroom pictures today.
How was it working with Matt Fuhrer?
Oh, fantastic! It was fun. It was great. Great cast. A lot of good memories. Haven't seen him for a while. Have you?
Not in person, ever.
No.
Besides Flash and Max Headroom, what was one of the other projects you were most proud of?
Well, my first movie I ever did was called The Cold Room, an HBO movie with George Segal, and it was really fun working with him. It was interesting. That we shot that in Berlin, in Germany. So, God, I've loved everything. Oxford Blues with Rob Lowe. I've loved all my work, actually.
I'm now with Steve Whitmire, and how does it feel to be at Rhode Island Comic Con?
It feels good. I haven't done this show before, and this is day one, and it's an incredible crowd. I can't believe it. It's unbelievable. Yeah, I've never seen this many people at a Comic Con on day one.
And you were Kermit the Frog and Ernie for over 20 years.
Long time. Kermit was almost 30 years, and Ernie was about 24, 25. Yeah, two characters that I inherited from Jim Henson, and just loved the chance to be able to keep them going, you know.
And you were also Kermit in Muppets Treasure Island.
Yeah, true.
And how was it working with Tim Curry?
Oh, it was fantastic. I was a massive fan of Tim's for years before that. And to have the chance to be in the room with him while he was singing some of the songs. He does a song in that movie, if I can say this real quick, called Professional Pirate. And he had pre-recorded the audio, because you do that for a film. But when he's performing it, he's still singing it out. So I was in a pit, like a puppet pit, down below him. He's standing up above me, singing, and I wasn't even in the scene. I was just there to, like in the front row of Tim Curry's audience, hearing him sing this amazing song with all that power. It was the kind of thing you get to do maybe once in your lifetime if you're lucky.
When you're playing multiple characters at the same time, how did they do that?
You know, the Muppets were always very individual, and they were really just almost a tool from the puppeteer who was performing them. So we didn't share them around. We all had our own characters. But we had other puppeteers who would stand in for us in terms of just manipulating the character. And then we would go back and voice it later. They would usually ask us how, get us to deliver the line for them so they could match our performance and stuff like that.
Because you created Rizzo the Rat, am I correct?
I did. Yeah, Rizzo was an original character of mine. Happened about 1978. And he really came into his own about 5 or 6 years later when we did Muppets Take Manhattan and continued on from there. Yeah, I loved Rizzo. Probably my favorite character I ever performed.
After you say you work on a project like a Muppets or Sesame Street, and then you watch back, do you forget that's even you're doing it and you just see the characters?
I didn't always do that. I did in the later years of doing the Muppets, I always did that. It's really strange, there's a little psychological thing. I never equated myself with being that character because I put such an emphasis on the characters being individuals themselves. So I would watch that stuff and it was as though I was watching another entity, it wasn't like something that I had done this way,
And Carol Spinney's here, and this is his last Comic-Con appearance. Yes. How was it working with Carol?
Well, I've known Carol forever, for 40-something years. Carol is the person who actually got me into the Muppets originally, so that's very special to me. And we never really got to work together until, unfortunately, after Jim passed away and I was doing Ernie for a while. So I would get to go to Sesame and work with Carol a bit. And it's bittersweet. I love him. He's a real treasure, both he and his wife, Deb, a huge part of my life. The reason I got into this work at the level I got into, and, he's certainly, he has this big bird side, but he certainly has his Oscar the Grouch side, and that's almost more fun.
Now, you have a lot of exciting projects coming up.
Right now, I'm doing a live stream that we're doing once a month with a character named Weldon the IT guy. And IT for Weldon stands for Internet Troll. He's this grouchy little fellow who lives in a cave all by himself, and people can call in. We do this show live. They can call in on the live stream and actually speak with Weldon. And he tries to get them to talk about their most miserable thing that happened to them in the last month, because that's what he thrives on.
All right, now I'm standing with
Luke Skywalker.
Luke Skywalker. What series are you from?
Dark Empire series.
Wow, and why are you so evil?
Palpatine had taken control of me for a short period of time, but I was secretly undermining his work.
And who do you have standing next to you?
This is my guardian, a Mandalorian.
Now, I don't know much about Mandalorians. Are all Mandalorians bounty hunters?
No, they are not. They're mercenaries, guards, and they do general war work.
And he agrees with you. Tell me a little bit about his armor.
This is all armor that's meant to protect him from firelight, and he can even deflect lightsabers.
And what's with the antenna on the helmet?
That's how he can communicate with his ship and other Mandalorians.
That is very cool, and he has many weapons that he's holding.
That's all for self-defense and or for attack when the time comes for it.
I'm now with Mike Quinn, and how are you enjoying Rhode Island Comic Con?
Oh my goodness, it's amazing. This is my first time here, and everyone's been so nice, and it's exciting, and I see all my old friends and make new ones, and it's actually really good. So if you're not here, why not?
You're behind many creatures in many movies.
And under them, yeah, and inside them, and yes, and around them.
And one of your most famous characters is Neenum.
Yes, he is. That's the thing. I've done a lot of stuff, but he's the guy I guess I'll be known for the most, and I'm fine with that. He's a good guy, so I'm okay with that. People will be watching him, long after I'm gone. It's amazing, really, isn't it?
So Neenum started in Return of the Jedi and now is in the new Star Wars films. But when you played Neenum in Return of the Jedi, he was a puppet, correct?
Yeah, people don't realize that, but it was the only way to kind of get him to have a good moving mouth and to just quickly deliver an acting character, because he wasn't really an animatronic as such at that time. That stuff was still being developed, so putting a hand inside the mouth like a big Muppet was the most efficient way of bringing him to life. There was less to go wrong and to break, so that was a solution that I came up with to Phil Tippett, and that's what we ended up filming on. Yeah, so he was a hand puppet.
In the new films, The Force Awakens and onwards,
yeah,
you're in the costume.
Yeah, which is amazing. So now I can see through his eyes, and I have legs, and I can walk, and I can run around and be with all the other actors properly, and but I also fall over and bump into things, and because I don't have good vision in there. So, but it's great. It's nice to become him more.
And how did they make that decision to go from a puppet to a suit?
I think it was just logical. The technology of animatronics had advanced so much over the 35 years or whatever it was, and now they have these little micro servos that are so strong and powerful. It just makes sense to build them into a mask, and he can do a lot more now with his face than he could before in Return of the Jedi, which just had two cables. One was for his eye blinks, and one was to make his ears wiggle, and the rest was just my hand. So it's a lot more advanced now, and it took two puppeteers to work those cables, and now I just have one puppeteer to do the whole face. So I always wanted to perform him again, and it never happened in the prequels. So when this came along, it has to be me, can't be anyone else. Luckily, they pulled people like Tim Rose and I in as legacy characters. So.
Are you sad that Admiral Akbar got killed in the last film?
Yeah, everybody was sad. I mean, it just seemed so unfair. You have to have sacrifices, certainly, within any story, but it was just so sudden, and then that was it. It's like, oh no. And of course, when I came over to film The Last Jedi, a lot of the guys, performers and puppeteers, thought I was going to be gone as well, and they didn't want to tell me. They were afraid I was gone with him, and they were afraid to say, I think you're dead. I think your character's dead. It's like, no, I don't think so. I don't think so. And then I made it onto the Falcon at the end, of course. So I survived. One of the few rebels that survived.
How was it working with Carrie Fisher?
Oh, lovely, always. We'd give each other sort of, knowing glances and smiles, and she was lovely.
Well, on Christmas this year is The Rise of the Skywalker. Yeah. How do you feel the audience will be after they see the film?
I feel it's going to be epic. We'll all be happy and sad, and we'll cry and we'll cheer, and I think it will be a wonderful experience. I feel like it, for me anyway, and I mean I can only speak for myself, but I'm excited, and it'll be an emotional roller coaster, and I think it'll be wonderful. I can't wait. I think we're in for a good ride.
I'm now with Spencer Wilding. How does it feel to be back at Rhode Island Comic Con?
Oh, you know what? It's great to be back here. I felt a presence in the force, and then all of a sudden, bang, I was back here again. I was only here last year, but it's such a great show, and I just love it because everybody's just so friendly here. It's like going to a very small Comic Con. It's got that real family feel, although it's huge. I well recommend it. Yeah, so come and say hello sometime.
When you put on that Darth Vader helmet in Rogue One, how heavy is that helmet?
You become the character, or the character chooses you, and you become the character. So you don't really feel it. It's like you are the character. It's not like you're going, oh, it's a heavy helmet, or oh, it's a bit hot in here. You just don't. It's not like that. You know what I mean? It's like going to work with your stuff on.
You were also in Men in Black.
Men in Black International, and I loved playing that film. I remember on the first day, behind the scenes camera guys like you guys said, "How does it feel playing Luca Brasi?" I'm like, wait there, Luca Brasi. That's because I just thought the character's name was called Luca. I didn't know it was Luca Brasi from the original Godfathers. It's an honour to Hollywood to give me my character's name. That it's just like, oh wow, I was buzzing. And
it must have been great to be part of that franchise.
Oh, of course, Men in Black, and I love playing the aliens, and it's great. And then jumping onto Hobbs and Shaw after that, getting knocked out by The Rock, it's great. If you're going to get knocked out by anybody, fiction, The Rock will do it.
And it must have been great not being behind all that makeup and be yourself.
Yeah, of course. I've done lots of shows as myself as well, but we all love a monster and they make the noise, So whatever comes on my path, in makeup or out of makeup, it's all good.
I'm now here with Ethan Peck, and how are you enjoying the Rhode Island Comic Con?
So far, so good. I've been here for about 10 minutes, so you can't screw up too much in 10 minutes,
Now, you're playing the legendary Mr. Spock in Star Trek Discovery. How does it feel to play such an iconic character?
It's very surreal, but it's been such a blast, and luckily the response has been pretty warm as far as I'm aware. My mom only sends me the good articles, so I'm sure there's bad stuff, but I haven't seen it. So it's been wonderful.
And what did you do for research for the role?
I met with his children. That was sort of the first step in becoming, or rather feeling worthy of taking on the role. I read I'm Not Spock and I Am Mr. Spock. I watched a lot of original series episodes. I read a book on quantum physics called The Nature of Time by this Italian theoretical physicist. I did a whole bunch of things.
Now, your grandfather is Gregory Peck. Was it his acting that inspired you to become an actor?
Not consciously, but I'm sure there's some inspiration there.
And what are you working on besides Star Trek Discovery?
Penny Dreadful, the new City of Angels, yeah.
Now I'm standing with?
Samantha.
And?
Elizabeth.
And who are you two dressed as today?
I'm dressed as a Vulcan ambassador.
I'm just a Vulcan officer.
And what inspired you to dress up today?
Deep love of Star Trek.
You just recently met William Shatner. How was that experience?
He was so kind. He called us ladies. It was cool.
I'm still recovering a little bit.
I'm now with Marty Abrams from Mego. And how are you enjoying Rhode Island Comic Con?
It's pretty awesome. The place is incredibly crowded. I'm sure if you span this down, it's wall-to-wall people, and that's what generates the excitement.
Mego is one of the most popular toy lines, and you recently brought it back. What inspired you to bring back that amazing toy line?
There's been a demand for us to do it. Since the collector's market has exploded between all the Comic Cons, that inspiration was done by my family, my friends, my co-workers. It just became the right time to do.
And during the 1970s and 80s, you guys had so much property from Mego Toys. How did you acquire all those different franchises?
Well, actually, one led to another. We first acquired the whole Warner Brothers library. That immediately gave us access to what is now the Marvel library, and I became very good friends at that time with a guy by the name of Stan Lee. Now, Stan Lee wasn't quite Stan Lee then, as the icon has become. He was a guy like you and I, but his fame just grew and grew and grew with all his properties. From there, we rolled into the Planet of the Apes, which then allowed us to acquire most of the Fox library. And then we acquired Star Trek, which allowed us to acquire the Paramount library. So when you go from studio to studio with all their properties, each one begat the other one.
And you were the only one to have Marvel and DC.
That, in the history of the only one, and for a very long period of time. We had it for over, between the two of them, over 10 years.
Now Mego is back. How are the new toys different than the old toys?
The expression, everything old is new again.
Yeah.
Well, that's exactly where we are. We brought back our replications of what we did then, using the same basic body, using the clothing and the sculpting of the heads for the differentiation in terms of the product. And so, although it's a brand new line in the context of what our capability are and is to make new product, it's the same basic genre that we did back in the 70s.
And what inspires you to come up with these certain lines when you do?
Well, the inspiration really quite comes from our collectors, our ambassadors, and the marketplace. To bring in new people. We just can't rely on the old folk.
One thing I want to mention as well is the different sizes.
We have the 8-inch size, we have a 14-inch size, we have a 10-inch size. We go across a bandwidth, and then as we get further down into the branding, we have micros and we have minis. So the whole collectible market, we're addressing to what both our price points, collectability, and quite candidly charm. Because if you haven't got that, it's tough to embrace everybody.
Where can people find Mego? In what stores?
We're in Target as we speak, in a whole range of specialty shops. We're just about to hit Walmart, Kohl's, Hot Topic. So we have a whole bandwidth of stores that you can go and get them. And we are coming out with a very unique, explosive, probably the first time in the whole collector market of Stan Lee himself. And that's definitely coming right after the first of the year.
Now I'm with Paul Clark, Dr. Mego.
Yes.
Why are you called Dr. Mego?
I started calling myself that in 1998 when I found I wasn't the only grown man that wanted his toys back. And in talking to these guys on the internet, through forums, I found that everyone needed replacement parts. Everybody was missing a glove or a boot and broken Megos, so I'd say, well, send it to me and I'll fix it. So I fixed Mego, so I'm Dr. Mego. World's Greatest Superhero started in 1972, and Mego was producing about 500,000 of each character a year for 10 years. 1982, Mego folded, went out of business, but there was still thousands of figures out there that for the next 10 years still was out in the market. It went to like closeout, so people were buying them up. Nobody thought about the idea that they'd ever be rare. Nobody knew the company went out of business. You just still saw them in the stores. So I started to buy them at flea markets, garage sales, at stores. And I figured I was the only grown man who was buying old toys. And then the internet came along and I found there was a whole group of guys. So, and in talking to them, I found everybody had the same complaints. Things are ripped up, the cape's stained, the costumes. So I started in my garage to sew capes out of umbrellas to cast the boots in silicone rubber and pour resin copies. And it took me a couple of years, and I put it out there and said, well, I'm Dr. Mego. So at the same time, I kept saying to Marty, let's bring back Mego. And he goes, that's the past. I do different things. And then Target called him up and said, well, we want you to bring back Mego. And he said, okay, we'll take 500,000 figures. And that was 2018. It was a Target exclusive. As of January 1st, 2019, the exclusive's over and we can sell everywhere. I want to do a lot. And the key phrase is screen accurate. All right, we did the Gorn. It's the show Gorn. It's the Gorn from the episode. When Mego did the Gorn, it was the brown lizard head and a Klingon outfit with a Planet of the Apes body. It was original recycling. These new figures, we altered the way the heads go in, because in the past, the head had a neck plug, and so that was actually put together they assembled the body and the head at the same time. We were never supposed to take the heads off of Megos. They made a widening neck plug to go into the torso so the kids couldn't get the head off. And we just kept turning and twisting and pulling until it came off. So when we were working on the line for Target, we needed to be able to make a lot of bodies ahead of time before the heads are ready. So we altered the neck plug so that it has instead of having a neck plug, a plug goes into the neck, there's a post. It's more like a old G.I. Joe, where the Rotocast head has hollow, and you can just push it back on.
The new figures, do they have something that says Dr. Mego on them?
No. They're very nice to put on the back Dr. Mego as a consultant. And that's very nice of them. I went into the office. I said, okay, well, what figures are we doing? They went, you pick them. I go, I get to pick them? Sitting there with meetings with Target, arguing about what figures we're going to make. I said, I want to do Sulu and Chekhov, because Mego never did them, and every Star Trek guy has always had a place right on their bridge playset for Sulu and Chekhov. You can buy them directly through comic shops. There's a distributor called License to Play where you can buy wholesale if you want to retail. They're on Amazon, eBay. Mego's back, baby.
I'm with Peter Robbins, the voice of Charlie Brown. And how are you enjoying Rhode Island Comic Con?
I love it here. The first night I got here, there's a windstorm and leaves everywhere. So I like where I'm staying, and it's just across the street. I'm a fan like everybody else. I like going to these shows, hearing the stories of surviving in show business or not surviving in show business. So far, I've signed more autographs than William Shatner, so I'm very happy. He hasn't shown up yet, but that might change. But I'm pulling for our team.
As you should. How did you get involved being the voice of Charlie Brown?
I was a child actor. I was on F Troop and Get Smart and Rawhide, and I read for a part when I was in middle school, and it was for a Charlie Brown Christmas. And I liked the idea that I didn't have to dress up nice. I could just go there after school, work 3 or 4 days, and be done with it.
Charlie Brown Christmas is iconic. They play it every Christmas. How does it feel when fans come up to you, they meet you, and they express how much they love that movie?
Fortunately, I get to go to these Comic-Cons and have people know who I am and are fans of Peter Robbins and are fans of a Charlie Brown. And I'm trying to stay positive and be respectful for them and being the best Charlie Brown representation I can be.
You mentioned being on F Troop. How was that experience and working with that cast?
Well, they had a reputation of partying pretty good after the close of the business day, but I didn't see any of that. It was very well maintained studio at Warner Brothers in the back lot. They built that kind of set for them, and I just remember a lot of laughter and a lot of fun with all the characters.
And other than F Troop and all these other projects you worked on as a kid, what are you currently working on?
I'm currently working on writing a book called Confessions of a Blockhead, and my story through the criminal justice system, having bipolar disorder, and finally getting the right drugs for it. I'm now a productive member of society.
I'm now here with George Lowell, the voice of Space Ghost in Space Ghost Ghost to Costa. How are you enjoying Rhode Island Comic Con?
Oh man, you guys, God bless you. You've paid the drywall guys, so thank everybody in beautiful Providence for coming out. I would also like to thank the Episcopal Diocese for steering me the correct way back to the hotel. I got lost on foot yesterday, going, I swear, to the Rhode Island School of Design. Space Ghost is secretly artsy, kids. John and I've never met him until this weekend. He and I start breaking into songs for no good reason. We're singing Brigadoon earlier. Here's John. We traded pictures. Isn't that nice?
That is very sweet.
See, he put G and J and a little heart. That's how quickly people fall in love with George.
How'd you get involved with Space Ghost Ghost to Ghost?
You know, I fell into it face first. I was doing promos down the hall. God bless them, TBS and TNT. And in the process of me ad-libbing like we did on the show, way before the show ever happened, all these producers in the building kept telling the Cartoon Network people who were just beginning to, germinate the idea down in the lab. They turned around and people kept saying, have you read George? Have you read George? Have you read George? Went, read, and you could hear on the other side of the glass, I'm looking at the copy going, what, is he supposed to sound like a moron? And you would hear the glass go. And I'm thinking back here, I'm going, hey, I'm scoring with the glass. So the glass likes me. It was kind of a Wizard of Oz thing, don't look behind the curtain. And sure enough, the next morning it was like, it's yours if you want it. That was my buddy Keith. I'm imitating my buddy Keith, my oldest friend at the network. Keith's leg could be on fire, and he never gets more above, oh, my leg's on fire. I better put it out. Let me get a fire extinguisher, Keith. Okay, that's cool. But it's still on fire.
I'm now standing with.
Mega Man Trigger from Mega Man Legends.
And what's your real name?
Seneca Brown.
And?
I'm Skylar.
And who are you dressed as?
I'm Roxas from Kingdom Hearts.
Wow, amazing costumes. What inspired you to dress as these characters?
Well, I'm a huge fan of Mega Man, and I always wanted to get into cosplay last year. So when I got a job, I said, might as well take a go at it. And well, I had my first cosplay that debuted last year, but recently I wanted to update it with new parts, so here I am.
You look fantastic. And how about you? What inspired you to dress like this character?
Kingdom Hearts are some of my favorite games, and since Kingdom Hearts 3, the last game in this part of the series, just came out this year, I figured it's a good time to do one of my favorite characters.
That's great. And what do you? And so you made this all yourself?
Yep.
And what is this made out of?
All this is made out of EVA foam. The shoes, the helmet, the buster. Actually, with the helmet and buster, I coated it with 5 or 6 layers of Epsilon resin, sanded it down, filled it, and sent it to us all smooth. And then I primed it and then painted everything with some clear coat on it.
How long did that take?
Well, to do all the modifications, I had to be really quick about it. A month and a half, I would say.
That is impressive. Now, what are you holding in your hand?
So this is called a Keyblade. It's the main weapon in the Kingdom Hearts series. And so mine is made out of an aluminum broom handle for the main shaft. And then the whole thing is covered in EVA foam that I've coated in plastic dip and spray painted.
Those outfits are awesome. Thank you so much for showing me them at Rhode Island Comic Con. I'm now with a pro wrestling legend, the one and only Cowboy Bob Orton. How does it feel to be at the Rhode Island Comic Con?
Oh, I'm having a blast. A lot of great people, having a lot of fun. Tomorrow I hear is going to be packed, but it's starting to get pretty darn busy tonight too.
How was it working with Roddy Piper all those years ago?
Never a dull moment. Yeah, Roddy was just a great guy to travel with, a great guy to wrestle with, a great partner, and like I say, just never a dull moment. He could talk your ear off, boy. A lot of fun.
Was he the one who nicknamed you Ace?
Yes. Yeah, I don't know where he got that from. He just started calling me AC Baby.
You know, your son is the legend killer, the Viper, Randy Orton. How was it being in the angle with The Undertaker?
Oh, it was a blast. People seem to really, really enjoy the storyline, and for me being an old guy, coming, I get to get back in the ring and have some fun, and it was great.
How does it feel to see your son reach the higher levels of pro wrestling in the WWE?
Oh, it's great. He's kind of in a world unto himself right now as far as the wrestling goes. They're just nobody close, but he's just through the roof.
How did it feel to be an action figure?
I never really think too much about that stuff. It was just part of what I did. Yeah. And when they come out with a dog, great. And it is great. And my royalty checks aren't too bad, so,
Yeah.
Cool.
I'm now here with a WWE legend, the one and only, that's you, the one and only Mick Foley.
You're throwing that word around kind of lightly, right? Legend?
You are, sir.
I know.
And so, how are you enjoying Rhode Island Comic Con?
So far, it's I enjoy it. This is my 3rd time here. I'm having an unbelievable time. You guys, you know how lucky you are to catch me on a Friday, because tomorrow, this line, probably just a short.
No, it'll be
extending hours.
really
yeah.
long, yes. So recently you brought the 24/7 championship. How was that bringing a new title to WWE?
It was really exciting. I learned a lesson. Don't bait people into thinking they're going to get the hardcore title unless you are actually going to produce the hardcore title. When I pulled that hideous green thing out of my bag, let's just say the oxygen left the room. It's not the fault of the title. It's actually a cool title, right? And guys have been having a lot of fun with it, exchanging it. I mean, R-Truth just lost it and won it in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. So it's gone around the world to become a coveted title. But that night when I introduced it, I believe that was here, was it not? Confusing that with the night I won the WWE title from a young, little-known wrestler named Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
Yeah, you beat Mr. Rock.
Yeah, you want to repeat that?
You beat The Rock.
Yeah, the biggest star in the world. I beat him. And I know people at home are going, how's that possible? Well, it was in 1998.
And it would be possible today.
Yeah, give me a few weeks to train and, put a sedative in his pancakes and I should be able to give him a run for his money.
Yeah, have the New Day give him pancakes.
Yeah, something like that, yeah. It's got to be a way.
Also, you were unfortunately attacked by the Fiend.
Yeah, but hey, if you're going to be attacked, do it in a way where he can use your own hold against you, and therefore every subsequent mandible claw will make people, the two things that make people think of me automatically, even if it's just subliminally, Bray Wyatt using the mandible claw and NFL quarterback Nick Foles, because people are drawn to thinking, did he just say Mick Foley? It's happened hundreds of thousands of times.
And then you formed Mr. Sacco because of that, the claw.
Yeah, I ended up putting the sock on an already established hold, the mandible claw, but back in the day when I debuted it in '96, it was a pretty scary hold, and I think Bray Wyatt doesn't have the humor that the sock did, and so it's back to being a scary hold.
And what do you think of that character, the Fiend?
I like it a lot. I'm a big fan. I felt like I was starring in my own horror movie that night on WWE. I watched it back, and I thought it was really pretty remarkable. Can I just stand up so people realize I'm actually taller than you? I think you were, yeah, there you go, right? People were thinking this Foley is, 5'7"-ish. I'm actually 6'3.5". I was always billed at being shorter than I actually was.
Here I am with Chewbacca and Princess Leia. How you guys enjoying Rhode Island Comic Con?
We're having a ball.
He is really enjoying it, I can tell. How does it feel when people see him in costume? That must be a great feeling.
People really enjoy Chewbacca.
How you feeling? Good?
Warm.
I'm now with a pro wrestling legend, the one and only Devon Dudley. How does it feel to be at Rhode Island Comic Con?
Well, it feels good. I believe this is my first time being here, so I don't really usually do Comic Cons. And I just started, say back about 3 months ago. And so it's been great because a lot of the fans were wondering if I was ever going to do it. And ever since I started doing it, it's almost like I've been taking this tour around the world. So I'm pretty much at a lot of them now. WWE has allowed me to do it because I'm now a producer backstage. Every once in a while I still get in the ring, but more producing backstage, helping Vinnie Mac out, trying to do my own thing, trying to set my own legacy behind the stage now.
And you're also a WWE Hall of Famer. How did that feel to be inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame?
Well, it felt great. A lot of times over my career, I always thought that the fans did not appreciate a lot of things that Bubba and I did. We were always taking a second seat, or back seat, I should say, to other tag teams that have come before us, and of course the present during our era. But the Hall of Fame, when we got inducted, the love that came from the fans were unreal. And at that point, I realized that it was just me and my, in my mind, I was thinking that mess. But overall, it's been really, really great. The fans have been coming out to these functions and, congratulating me, telling me the stories about how I made their childhood, making me feel old. For the most part, they have been really, really showing me a lot of love. And I've been very happy about that and very appreciative.
What's one of the main memories you have working with Edge and Christian and the Hardy Boys?
Well, of course, the legendary TLC matches and how we took that match, especially at WrestleMania 17, and we told such a great story. I was just telling one of the fans here today, today's wrestlers and TLC matches and things of that nature, they blow us away with the things that they do. It's just so innovative and just so magical in what they do. But I think because we told the story the way we did in that match, and even the one in SummerSlam was so magical in itself that people still talk about it 25 years later. And it's such a great honor and a privilege to know that the newer generation, who weren't even born yet probably, now get to watch it on the WWE Network and now go, oh my God, that is the best. And it's such an honor and a privilege for fans like that to come to me and tell me that, because it makes me feel proud of what we've done and what we've accomplished, and know that the fans really appreciated what we did.
You mentioned being now a WWE producer. What's one of the lessons that you taught one of the new guys?
Well, slow down. Take your time. Feel the people. The people will give you the direction in which you need to go. Feel them. Let them learn to love it. And that's the whole biggest thing. Once you can feel the people and feel what they can do, just like when we do Devon Get the Tables, it's magical. Even to this day, I get people coming up to me, hitting me, going, Devon Get the Tables. But I will say this, if anybody hits me in public and do that, I will not take it as a, well, let's just say I will take it as an offense. I'll have to put you through a table.
I'm now with pro wrestling legend Spike Dudley. How does it feel to be at Rhode Island Comic-Con?
It's awesome. It's a great time. It's an amazing event. The people here are just, it's crazy. Their enthusiasm for everything is awesome. Whether it's comics, sci-fi, wrestling, whatever. It's a lot of fun. It's crazy.
You have Devon Dudley right next to you. How did you guys join forces?
I was a young guy that was living in California, doing the independent wrestling scene in California. I sent a videotape to ECW and said, hey, give me a job. And they said, well, if you can take a drive to New York, we'll give you a tryout. So I drove to New York, and I got my tryout, and they just said, okay, come back the next night. And then come back the night after, and the night after. And they made me a Dudley. We started off wrestling against each other, and then over the years we teamed together. Mostly he beat the crap out of me.
And how did your name become Spike?
I honestly think Raven came up with it. You know, like the gimmicks, the Given and Taz and Raven and all that. When they saw me and they said that they saw the little guy, I reminded Raven of the one of the cartoons. Hey Spike, you know, the little bulldog. And I think it was Raven's idea that tagged the name. But they gave it to me. This is your gimmick, you're Spike. And I went, okay.
And how did it feel to go through all those tables all those years?
Oh, it was great. No, I mean, it's not. It hurts. What can I tell you? It hurts. I mean, but there's a difference between pain and injury. And so every night I dealt with a lot of pain, but thankfully not too many injuries.
And what was one of your favorite feuds in the WWE?
Working with Bubba and Devon, aside from being my wrestling brothers, they're also two of my closest friends in the world. The closer you are, the better friends you are with the guys you're wrestling, the more you can really beat the crap out of each other. But we always had good chemistry, and they knew how far they could push me, and they pushed me pretty far. Working with those guys, it's just there was a comfort level, you know, and so that. Any whatever feud between me and versus Bubba and Devon, or that's where it was at.
I'm now with Lisa Marie Varon, and how do you feel being at the Rhode Island Comic-Con?
Well, David, maybe people don't know Lisa Marie Varon. Maybe they know former Victoria from WWE, former Tara from Impact Wrestling, TNA, or just Lisa. Interesting story. I'm having a great time. David interviewed me 2010, and he only had a t-shirt. He wasn't really spiffy like this, and look at now. You know, I'm a Comic-Con geek. It's not just work for me, it's pleasure. You know, I mark out for my favorite things too. So it's just, I love it. And my cosplayers, I want to see more cosplayers.
Are you officially retired?
I had my last match 4 weeks ago. And I didn't announce it. I knew it was coming my last year. I wrestled Melina Perez. I got to choose my opponent. And it was a girl promotion. The girls main evented. I got the belt. The nerves I had before going out to the ring, I was so nervous. And I'm like, you know, I'm 48. And I was like, we're main eventing. We can't just do a little, like an easy match. We got to do some, oh my gosh, moments, right? Mm-hmm. And so my stress level, and I was like, I can't do this anymore. I go, I want still people to appreciate that I'm still good in the ring. 45 minutes before going out to the curtain, I grabbed the mic out there and said, thank you for coming to my final match. And everybody went, what? And the promoter even asked me, her name's Bambi, it was a girl promoter. You didn't tell me it was your last match. I go, I decided 45 minutes going out there. I said, I'm pretty happy with this decision. I said, I need to be healthy. Everybody's like, are you sad about it? I'm not. I'm really ecstatic about it. It's time for a new adventure.
How was it against Melina?
Awesome. Oh my gosh, she still got it, you guys. She still does the same things that she did back then. She still is flexible as heck. And she's very giving in the ring. So she, was very happy that I won the belt, and we both started crying during the match, especially before locking up when I announced it. Hold on, because you can't see through tears. I love her. I'm glad it was with her.
When you were part of the WWE, women weren't treated as well as they are now. But you were the true wrestler. They were more the eye candy.
Yes. It was like back in my generation, the eye candy generally got the cover of the magazine, and, the muscular women, except Chyna is exception. She got all the covers and stuff like that. And she made it seem okay to be outside the box and not be that Barbie doll type of girl. I never was jealous of it. It was part of the business. We knew that TNA kind of sells. Do you know what I mean? That you need that sex appeal and the girls that can kick butt. My repertoire, like my longevity in the business was working with the rookies. So, and I knew the nervousness and like that look and making them, and I learned from Jazz about making their opponent feel comfortable and at ease.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's an art, you're only as good as your opponent in our business. You know what I mean? You make each other look good. I feel like a proud grandma. I'm so proud of these kids, doing what they're doing now. But at the time, we still were proud of what we did.
I would have loved to see you in the ring, though, with Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair. And Mickie James is still in the WWE.
Yes, yeah. There's some amazing girls. I'll be honest with you. When I watch, I think they would run circles around me. I'm more a methodical and very slow worker, and my face expressions and all that kind of stuff. And I'm more character driven. I'm not spot. Let's go. Boom, 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 boom. I can't work that way. There's some girls I would love to face someday. You never know. I'm not completely like saying I'll never get back in the ring. I'm not that like that. But I just wanted to retire when I was still good out there. And you never know in the future what future, you never say retire as a wrestler. That's a bad word.
What you're holding right now is the original WWE's Women's Championship.
Okay, a lot of people ask about this. Okay, this is actually not the original. It's the original logo, but a fan made this for me.
Oh, wow.
He customized it. They asked me, "Where's your belt?" And I go, "They don't give you one when you leave." Are you serious? And so he made me one. Getting the championship belt, regardless if it had a butterfly on it, whatever it looked like, it's still a championship. It's still a pat on your back that you're doing a good job.
How does it feel to be an action figure?
I have 7. You know how I knew this? My mom and dad collected my action figures. I didn't realize I had so many. They're very hard to come by. They didn't make a ton of me. So whenever I go to Comic Cons, I scout the floors and looking for my action figures so I can provide it at my table, you know what I mean? But it is kind of surreal having an action figure. Even though they're like, oh, I don't think you really look like it. I don't care, it's an action figure of myself. It's really odd. It really is crazy. Because we're all kind of normal people that I have to pick up my dog poop in a plastic baggie. I'm just like normal, a girl next door, but that happens to have a extravagant job, but the action figure is pretty cool.
Now I'm with Jeremy Pelko, and how does it feel to be back at the Rhode Island Comic Con?
I love Rhode Island, man. It's such a cool town. Tiniest city, right? Is that what you guys are known for?
Tiniest state.
Tiniest state.
Biggest con in the tiniest state.
Biggest con. Okay. Clearly, I've been on a long flight today, but good to be here.
And how does it feel to be reunited with some of your Walking Dead cast members?
Oh man, it's so cool to see Ross again and Alana, and good to see everyone.
And what do you remember just being on set with these guys?
I remember being hot and sweaty and being really physical, especially with Steven. My first week on set was a lot of stunt-related things, and being a new guy on set and complaining about bruises. Steven didn't really have any remorse for the new guys, but he made me laugh a lot on set, along with Alana. So it's good to see these guys again.
Is it kind of interesting to see some of your cast members? Now you're deceased on the show, your character. Some other people are still alive, some people are gone.
Yeah, you get on the show to pretty much die. I know Alana died last season. The head on the stick, right? Oh, that was rough. Welcome to the club, Alana. Welcome.
Who do you think, when Walking Dead is all finished, who will be the main survivor from the current cast?
I'm not going to speculate, sir. Just tell you a quick story. Back in season 6, when they didn't know who Negan killed, actually, it was, Ross was there and Steven and Michael Cutlitz. And I really had no clue who was dying. And someone asked me, and I said, it might be Glenn because of the comics. And then someone said, I quoted it, like Glenn dies. And so they tweeted it, and I didn't get in trouble, but I begged that person to delete that tweet. So in a world of social media, no spoilers. So I don't know. I don't know, but I look forward to seeing what more creative people have to offer and say on the storyline.
I'm now with Benedict Wong, and how are you enjoying Rhode Island Comic-Con?
It's fantastic. It's really lovely to meet all the fans. It seems that Rhode Island is kind of equidistant for everyone to kind of make their journey here. People from Massachusetts, New Jersey, and it's really lovely to see everybody. Yeah.
Well, you were absolutely fantastic in Doctor Strange and in Avengers Endgame.
Thank you.
What was one of the things you were most surprised of after seeing Avengers Endgame?
I guess it's the only time where you don't have a full script. In some ways, you're just given a piece from the jigsaw. That was really kind of thrilling to see the end result, really. And there's 19 films involved. That the stakes are so high. It was really like being on this kind of unknown roller coaster that you were watching. Yeah, what an experience. I mean, hey, it's the highest grossing film ever. Yeah.
You did a guest starring spot on the IT Crowd years ago.
Yeah.
How does it feel to be part of that such iconic, hilarious show?
It was great. Graham, good friends with his wife, and I remember him coming down and saying, you never really want to be in my show. And I just said, write me a part. And he did. It's a streak countdown, yeah, so check it out.
Now, I know we have another Doctor Strange movie in the works, but what else are you currently working on?
The Lady and the Tramp is coming out. Obviously, Dark Crystal has come out. Just finished a film called 9 Days with Zazie Bates and Winston Duke and Bill Skarsgård, which we shot in Utah.
Now I'm standing with?
Sister Knight.
And who are you with?
I am with Steampunk Thanos.
Wow. And what inspired you guys to dress up in these costumes?
Well, I've seen the new Watchmen on HBO. I don't know if I can plug HBO, but I've seen the new Watchmen. I just love her character. She's really inspiring. And Steampunk Thanos, I don't know. It's a good mashup.
Don't snap. Do not snap your fingers. All right. Well, I'm glad you're keeping him in check for this Comic-Con.
I'm keeping an eye on him, making sure he doesn't snap away the universe.
I'm now here with the legendary Lou Ferrigno. How are you enjoying being at the Rhode Island Comic-Con?
A lot of fun, great gratification with the fan. Girls crying, women crying, how much they love me, how much they love the show. Kids getting excited, people smiling on their faces. It's a blast.
Now, Arnold Schwarzenegger always says so many high praise about you. What do you think about Arnold all these years later?
Well, I think it's great when he's done, especially the film business with his success in life.
And who do you think would win in a fight? The Hulk or the Terminator?
What do you think?
The Hulk. And how do you think Mark Ruffalo's doing with these new versions of the Hulk in the Marvel films?
Well, I think he's a wonderful actor, but I don't like the look of the version of the new Hulk. Not like the series, but that's what the way Disney wants it. But Mark Ruffalo is a wonderful actor, but I'm not crazy about the new Hulk.
I'm now with Martin Kleber, and how are you enjoying Rhode Island Comic-Con?
Loving it. It's one of my favorite ones so far. Been great people, a lot of great actors and actresses here and wrestlers. So I've been really stoked to be here.
You're in so many great franchises, including Pirates of the Caribbean. What's one memory you could share working on that film?
I got seasick a lot, so I'm not a guy that likes to be out on the water, but I'll do what I got to do. It's a paycheck, right?
And how is it working with Kevin McNally and Johnny Depp?
Yeah, they're great. Kevin's like my like a Pops. I call him Pops. He's a great guy, and of course working with Johnny and Jeffrey Rush. Not only you get into work, but you're also getting to learn. So.
And you were also in some iconic episodes of Scrubs. How is it working with Neil Flynn as the janitor?
Oh, I love Neil. Neil's funny, and the whole crew though is great. Zach and Sarah Chalk, they're all great. That was probably one of my favorite TV shows I ever worked on.
Well, that was the 2019 Rhode Island Comic-Con, and as you can tell, it gets bigger and better every year. I hope you come next year. There was so many celebrities at this convention, and hopefully next year if you can come, you can meet some special guests. My name is David Ciccariella. Thanks for watching.